Hi everyone, welcome back to Millennium Computers online 5-minute tutorials. Today's course is actually going to be a continuation of the last course. So in the first course of this series, we did an introduction to pin reports, and it was pretty comprehensive as far as being able to show you how to create a pin report and then how to go back and find that and re-execute it whenever you need to. Now, the next step, of course, is going to be finding that pin report and making modifications to it, and then actually going through the process of resaving that if that's what we want to do. So first step is to locate your pinned reports, and just as a refresher, if we expand out my hamburger button, you're going to have a pinned reports tab in every application. Now for today's course, we're just working within the FAST human resource reporting application, but obviously this functionality can be applied to absolutely any application within FAST. So I'm already on my pinned reports tab, and I'm just going to compress that hamburger button back down again. So the tab strip is just hidden off the page. And this is my pinned reports libraries. So of course I have my favorite pinned reports on top, and those are those pinned reports that I have specifically tagged as favorites. And these are the ones that I've deemed the most important for this application. And so really it makes them really quick and easily accessible to me. I also have my various pin report libraries underneath, and I can also choose to expand out any of those libraries to view or access the reports within them. I just find it's a lot easier to work in my favorites library because you don't have to go through that drill down process when you want to locate those reports. So let's go ahead and re-execute one of my pinned reports. So there's two ways to actually execute a pinned report. You can either find the green execute button, and that's just a shortcut right on your pinned reports tab, or my preference is just to click on the title, which is a hyperlink. So I'm going to click on the title of this pinned report. Okay, so the first thing we're going to notice is I want to draw your attention under the navigation bar. We have a new bar that just indicates to us we're currently viewing a pinned report, and it's going to show me what that title is. Now you do have the option to close or get rid of that little bar, but I actually like to leave it there as a little bit of a reminder about what I'm looking at, and it's going to actually show us the status of that pinned report when we go ahead and make some changes. Now there are a couple ways to make changes to pinned reports, and maybe a couple of reasons why you might want to do that. First of all, what I find sometimes happens is you have a great pinned report, you run it pretty consistently, but over time, maybe the requirements for that particular report are going to change. Maybe you introduce new employee classes, maybe you have new fund codes that you add to your chart of accounts, maybe you have new student admission types that you add into your ERP. So as changes are made in your database, you want to be able to modify the pinned report to make sure it still meets your needs on the other side. So once we decide what changes we want to make, there are two ways to modify the pinned report. The first is look at my filter trail. This is the blue text that's highlighted across the top of this report. Now, if I were to click on any of these fields, it's going to take me to that corresponding field on my filter options tab. I also have the option of just clicking right on my filter options tab. And of course, that's just going to bring me back to the tab in general. It's not going to place my cursor anywhere specific. What I'm going to do actually in this scenario is just go ahead and delete my gender of female. So what I had done here initially is I had picked up a handful of employee classes looking for only female employees with the status of active. I'm actually going to delete that gender, and what I'm going to do now is basically run the same report but for all employees, and I'm going to summarize those by class, and in this case also by organization code or department. So once you make a change to the report itself, make sure to re-execute that report to view those changes. So let's go ahead and click Execute Report. And then really important thing has changed across the top of the page, right? So where it used to say you are currently viewing a pinned report, now it's going to show us we've currently modified the pinned report criteria for this particular report. So what FAST is basically telling us is everything's still fine. The pinned report is still intact on the pinned reports tab, but it's also letting us know that we've made a change to the base criteria of that report. So the question is, FAST wants to know what we want to do with those changes. Are we trying to actually do something to the pinned report itself, or are we just executing this as a one-off scenario? The button at the bottom of the page has also changed. Instead of saying Save As, notice we have two options on the pinned button. We have the option to create a new pinned report, and that would essentially mean you're taking the revised criteria and creating an entirely separate and distinct report with that modified criteria, and that's definitely an option for you. The other option is to update the existing pinned report. This acts as an overwrite to the existing report that's already there. So let's go ahead and select update, because what I'm trying to do is take my modified criteria and apply it to the report. Now we're still going to be prompted to give the report a name and a description, and that's because you may want, as in this case, to modify that criteria. So my description is no longer female employees only. I'm just going to say status of active, and I'm going to keep actually my report title the same. You also at this point have an opportunity to modify the security settings, make this part of a group or public if I'd like to. And then when you're ready, just go ahead and click save. I'm going to continue to save this as a private pinned report for now. And once FAST lets you know that it's been modified, of course, my summary bar now changes. So I'm currently viewing essentially what is the revised criteria for the same pinned report. And if I go back to my pinned reports tab, it's available for me right on my pinned reports tab once again. And if I execute this now, it's going to have the new criteria, the revised criteria that we just added. So I hope this has been a helpful overview for you on how to create pinned reports and then how to find them, make modifications, and then run them again. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again next time.